feels like with every passing day, we are getting more and more information about Mario Kart World. Whether it's new characters, new tracks, or something else, it feels like this game is bigger and bigger every time we take a look at it. And in this case, it's no different. So we already know that Mario Kart is known for bringing back retro tracks, referencing its own previous history of previous Mario Kart tracks. And it seems like this game is doing a lot with that, not only with having actual quote-unquote retro tracks, but more so a case of remixing the tracks. And this is really exciting in and of itself in terms of getting slight adjustments and changes to pre-existing courses. Of course, we had that with existing retro tracks, but not to the extent as this seems to be doing. But between the entirely new version of Grand Prix, the Knockout Tour, and Free Roam, it seems like we're not only just getting courses, but in between courses, it seems. You might think, Mads, what are you talking about? Well, first off, Grand Prix seems to be a case of you're not really racing on the tracks themselves, at least for most of the time. The first track in each Grand Prix seems to be the standard Mario Kart course you'd expect, which feels pretty normal because it's like establishing, oh, don't worry, this is Mario Kart, you're used to it. 3 laps on a course or whatever. But the rest of the 3 tracks during a Grand Prix is really where it shakes up, where most of the time you're just driving to that course and then you do 1 lap as the 3rd lap on the course itself. And then Knockout Tour, at the same time, does something sort of similar, where you just go from one course to another, to another, to another, and you might drive on part of that existing course, but more likely than not, you're sort of just driving in the open world of Mario Kart World. But what really interests me is these previews you get when you're looking through the Knockout Tour and the Grand Prix. Obviously, with Grand Prix, you have little icons of each course, which makes total sense. That's sort of how it goes with most Mario Karts. You get the 4 courses, you see what their names are, and you do something similar in Knockout Tour, but you go to 6 courses instead because you're just driving from one end of a map to another. But what's really interesting is we don't get previews of the existing courses, but like these micro courses in between to see like little icons of what's there. One, for example, has like a crazy Plessy dinosaur Yoshi looking thing near like the dinosaur location, which looks really, really cool. But what I'm really excited by this, out of all the little previews, is this one. You see those little head things? For those who don't know or don't recognize these at all, don't worry, you're not alone, because these are from Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, known as Bataton and Toko Toko, I think. Yeah, they're part of Sarasaland, a part of Daisy's Kingdom. And you might think, Mads, why is this so big? What's the big idea? When was the last time we saw these guys? Right? Like, we had those island heads in the Sand Kingdom in Odyssey, but that's an entirely different Mario character. These are specifically referencing the land games, and that is just crazy to think about, that they're bringing back land representation. And the new look at Shy Guys Bazaar having like a Daisy theming to it seems very likely that they are actually establishing Sarasaland and Daisy to be like a more established character as she was in Mario Land, which is really, really cool. Now, a lot of people are speculating this is sort of to get people prepared for the next Mario movie. Like, Mario Movie 2 is going to be set in Sarasaland and have Daisy as a main character and something, which I could totally see. I think that is a very good reason, a good justification for reintroducing this world, reintroducing this land in Mario Kart World. And there's even more sort of ideas that we're getting more representation of Mario Land, because we see a big UFO at some point. I think it's in the box art, or like in the main establishing like key art for Mario Kart World, and UFOs were a little part of a certain game, same thing, Mario Land. And even in this shot of Wario in the desert, we see a plane going over, and a lot of people are speculating that this is the same plane from Mario Land. So it seems like there's a bunch of connections to this game, and it's really exciting, just the idea that they're re-establishing an existing character. But for those of you who didn't play Mario Land, or aren't familiar with Mario Land, or didn't watch a Mario Land retrospective at some point in their lives, Sarasaland isn't just a desert, right? A lot of people just assume, oh yeah, Daisy, she's like the desert princess. That's not necessarily true. Sarasaland has like a bunch of environments which are all based around real places in the world. The first is based on Egypt, there's another one based on Bermuda, there's another one based on the Easter Island heads, and then the final location is based on China. So it has a lot of representation of a bunch of different locations. It's not, but obviously the first location in that game is based on Egypt, so a lot of people just assume that, oh yeah, Daisy's like the desert princess and stuff like that. But no, there's a lot to this location, and if they're bringing back certain elements of this world, how much are they going to go with that? Like, how much are they going to integrate some of these old enemies and old characters into the new Mario Kart World? And it gets bigger than just Sarasa Land and Super Mario Land, guys, because we even have Super Koopas from Super Mario World. Obviously, we have Loomis showing up, and we also have all these weird, crazy dinosaurs in one of the locations. So it seems like there's a lot going on within this world. And it's not just Mario Land or Yoshi's Island or Super Mario World, which they're referencing. I don't know if they're referencing Yoshi's Island with the dinosaurs, potentially. Maybe not. I don't know. Isn't it the Dinosaur Land or something? I think that's what Yoshi's Island was initially, but you know, maybe they changed it up or something. Anyways, there's a bunch of dinosaurs that look like Yoshi, or at least Yoshi-esque dinosaurs. But we also get Piantas showing up. I already talked about we should get Nokis as playable characters. That'd be really, really cool. But getting Sunshine representation with those and the Cataquacks is another part of like, oh wait, this world's really sort of expanding on how much they're showing. And I don't know, it's just really cool to see how big this world is. And I think this brings up to a bigger question where a lot of people are thinking, oh, why is this game so expensive? I think they're just making this huge, like absolutely ginormous. And I don't know if there's going to be like a mission mode or something to do with a free roam. They did mention with free roam that they're going to expand it, and it's not just about there's something else going on. They said that during the treehouse, so there's something we don't know about this game, which is really cool to see, because I honestly think that this game will be abundant with content, but just the idea of doing little free roams and exploring this world and sort of piecing together the lore seems like a big part of what they're trying to do. Like, they really showcased that the idea of free roam is to see all the attention to detail in these levels, and that's something I love. Like, some of my favorite moments just in video games as a whole have been like, you know, playing games like Mario Galaxy 2 and just like taking in the world and seeing a bunch of little weird funky details. And there might be some little creepy like events which go on. Like, we already saw, or in the treehouse footage, we saw that when they were near Wario shipyard, there was like a giant dragon eel or like a giant like blooper or something that comes out of the water, and it's like, ooh, little moments like that are going to be so fun. And we also have that giant sand charvog thing which appears out of nowhere, so it seems like there's going to be a lot of like events, whether they're tied to courses or just randomly appear within the world. I can't wait to actually get our hands on this game, and a bunch of people will be like, oh my god, look at that. It's going to have like this real fun aspect of discovery, I think similar to how Breath of the Wild had when we first started playing that game, and I'm all here for it. I really think this is going to be like my favorite game ever. Obviously I'm biased, right? I love Nintendo, I love Mario Kart, but just, man, I cannot wait to experience this. And I really love that they're taking old characters and old existing aspects of Mario's world and re-importing it back into like the mainline games, because obviously we had that big stale period in the 2010s where like everything just looked like New Super Mario Bros. And like that was it. You weren't allowed, like, I think there was even a point where Nintendo said Mario wasn't a plumber anymore, and look at us now. He's back plumbing away, I guess, potentially. But yeah, what do you guys think? Are you guys excited that they're bringing back old aspects of previous games? Is there any game in particular which you really want Mario Kart World to reference and bring back? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to Mood News for all things moody and newsy.